everyone is doing fabulous today and they are enjoying this beautiful sunny morning. It is autumn. It is officially almost Halloween. Tomorrow is the big day. So obviously we had to be a little bit festive with today's presentation. We have some Halloween fun trivia sprinkled throughout today's presentation. This is also going to be our last coffee break of the year. We take 2 months off during the end of the year so that we can prep for all of our holiday fun. But that doesn't mean we're going to leave you hanging. Stay tuned for a special invite. Early next month, we will be announcing the date and time for our annual holiday extravaganza. It's basically just like a coffee break, but it's filled with fun, festive cheer. A lot of really neat holiday things go on and prizes. So I hope you will all stay tuned and look for that invitation. We will make sure that you guys all get that exclusive invite. And let's go on ahead and get started. Today's presentation is going to be a little bit of a long one. I'm going to be kind of a chatty Cathy. I tried to squeeze in a lot in this last presentation just to make sure that we were giving you guys some value before the end of the year and we didn't leave you hanging. So welcome. First, if you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat or the Q&A window at any time during the presentation. I will try to keep an eye out for these as they come through and address them during the presentation, but for everything else, we'll have time at the end. You can also email us at sales@tristaterestores.com. We are recording, and links to view the video and PDF presentation will be shared with you tomorrow morning. For everything else, visit tristaterestores.com/BCB for a complete archive. We will have 10 $5 gift cards awarded to 10 lucky attendees at the end of today's presentation. Stay tuned to find out how. After the coffee break, please complete the post-event survey. Let us know what topics you'd like us to cover in the next coffee break. Again, this is our last one of the season. We will see you guys in 2025. Stay to the end. One lucky attendee will be taking home a spooky Halloween dozen from Georgetown Cupcake. Oh, thanks, Katrina. The holiday party is a lot of fun. It's different. So, who we are, for those of you that are new on the call, we are a local family-owned and operated established firm in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. We specialize in property recovery efforts, the mitigation and remediation for water, fire, mold, biohazard, lead, and odor-caused damages. Our company's mission is turning disaster into peace of mind because we're committed to easing the burden of handling your property's disaster through providing you with the best customer experience and services possible. And our suite of services, again, we help people out with water mitigation and restoration efforts, mold remediation and lead abatement, fire and smoke restoration and odor control, biohazard and trauma disinfection, and sewage mitigation and cleanup efforts. We are an IICRC certified firm, EPA lead safe certified firm, IIQA smart mold firm. We're 5-star rated across all of the sites that matter. All TSR employees are infectious disease control certified and water restoration technician certified. We also have a licensed asbestos inspector on staff. That was a tongue twister. Sorry, guys. We belong to all of these wonderful organizations down here, and then a few community organizations, the Property Management Association. We're members of 2 chapters of CAI, and we're also members of AOBA. So let's get into it. October is a month full of themes, and the very first important one is breast cancer awareness. Did you know women who work from home have a 54% higher death rate from cancer than those who work outside of the home? I found this to be a staggering statistic and needed to share it with you guys. Because October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and Tri-State supports finding a cure. We are actually donating 3% of our total October sales to the Breast Cancer Research Foundation in support of finding a cure. And then here's just a couple of stories that have hit us close to home. And if anybody has their own breast cancer story, please feel free to share it in the chat. We love story time, and this is very interactive. So in August of 2022, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. She had just started chemotherapy, and like most people, started losing her hair. While my mom is generally not a very vain woman, her hair was always one of her favorite attributes, and she was worried about how she'd look without it. She ultimately decided it was time to shave it off, so of course, we had to do a TSR photo shoot to remind her of just how beautiful she was, even without hair. And this is one of the resulting photos. And there's my mom. And I am happy to report that earlier, in the year, my mom was able to ring her cancer-free bell and she is in remission, so all is good there. But that's not how every story ends, unfortunately. Not all stories have happy endings, and not all cancer journeys end with good news, which is why it's so important for us to help spread awareness and search for a cure. There are many women around the world that unfortunately still don't have awareness needed to seek help until it's too late. Earlier this year, our owner, Mark Wilson, sadly said goodbye to his mother, Dorothy Ann Wilson. She was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2022 and was laid to rest on July 7th, 2024. We honor Miss Dorothy's memory this year for Breast Cancer Awareness Month and take solace knowing that she's resting peacefully now with her late husband and is no longer in pain. So I'll let everybody open this up for a second, but we're going to keep moving. I did mention this is a little bit of a longer coffee break, and I want to make sure everybody's able to return to their normal day. But if you do have a breast cancer story or cancer story, please feel free to share it in the chat. Oh, thanks, Indira. And thank you, Amy. I love the photo shoot. Sometimes you have to take a negative and spin it into a positive, and it really just helps everybody involved. That's one of the main things that I'll share throughout my mom's cancer journey. Just the, exuding of positivity. It's very important. You go through a lot. And if you have a support system and you're able to be that support system for somebody, that could be the difference between, making it over the hurdle and not. My mom went through this too. Women can be beautiful without hair, and I think my mom looked great as well, right? I mean, I was surprised she actually had a nice round head. We joked about it. I got to start mammograms early. Good job, Amanda. Yes. So keep spreading that awareness. Any women that you know, tell them, you know what? It's time to get checked out. You're over 30. It's never too early to just make sure you're doing the self exams. If you spot a red flag, make sure you get yourself in to see a doctor and get that checked out because preventative maintenance on our bodies is just as important as it is for our properties. You owe it to yourself to check exactly. Very good. Thank you guys. All right. Now, without further ado, October is also Air Quality Awareness Month. We're going to get into it here. What is indoor air quality? Well, according to the EPA, indoor air quality refers to the air quality within and around buildings as it relates to the health and comfort of its occupants. Understanding and controlling common indoor pollutants can help reduce your risk of health concerns. Health effects from indoor air pollutants may be experienced soon after exposure or possibly years later. Oh, I'm so glad, Fen. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Interesting facts. We inhale 3,000 gallons of air each day. We spend 90% of our time indoors. 1 in 5 people have allergies and asthma, and 25% of outdoor air pollutants and molds are found in your indoor air quality. What are indoor air pollutants and toxins? Well, the most common is derived from excess moisture, volatile organic compounds or VOCs, radon, pesticides, airborne particulates like dust, smoke, dirt, soot, and salt, viruses, and bacteria. And we're going to harp on these last two because we are entering flu season. I hear there is a pneumonia mini epidemic hitting both Frederick and Baltimore counties. So we need everybody to be safe out there. Sources of indoor pollutants. Bathroom mold, mildews, odors, other microbial pathogens, air conditioning units, if they're unable to remove the pathogens, or maybe your filters haven't been changed, odors, circulation without ventilating rooms. In your living room, you could have animal hair, dust, dander, tobacco smoke, particulates from walking outside, inside, VOCs from paints, carpet, varnishes, upholstery, furniture. Basically, in any room of your house, there is some source of an indoor pollutant that you could pinpoint. Volatile organic compounds, these are VOCs. They're emitted as gases from certain solids or liquids with a high vapor pressure and low water solubility. These include formaldehyde, radon, ozone, particulates, building material vapors, fibers like asbestos, and tobacco smoke. Biological pollutants. These are substances in our environment which come from living organisms and can affect our health. These include bacteria, molds, viruses, animal and human saliva, dander, urine, or feces, insects like dust mites, cockroaches, and pollen. Where do these pollutants come from? Pollutant sources can typically come from fuel burning combustion appliances, tobacco products, building materials and furnishings as diverse as deteriorated asbestos containing insulation, newly installed flooring, upholstery or carpet, cabinetry or furniture made of certain pressed wood products, products for household cleaning and maintenance, personal care or hobbies, central heating and cooling systems and humidification devices, excess moisture, outdoor sources such as radon, pesticides, or outdoor air pollution. Mold and mildew. Mold and other microbial growths create poor indoor air quality, airborne contamination, and allergens, affecting the health of everyone in the building. Inhaling or touching mold spores can cause allergenic reactions, including sneezing, runny nose, red eyes, and a skin rash. It could also get worse. There are much more hazardous reactions depending on, you as a person, whether or not you are healthy, if you have asthma, if you have respiratory illness, all of these can play into factors creating a real hazard for you indoors. Opening windows to allow excess moisture to flow outside of your property helps to reduce the risk of microbial growth from indoor moisture settling on your walls, floors, and ceiling. That's why, they always recommend you have a ventilated bathroom. If you don't have ventilation in your bathroom, open a window, during or after a shower or bath. And for a little bit more on the breakdown of mold hazards and remediation, check out our archive. Did you know that infants and young children exposed to mold in the home have an increased risk of developing asthma by the age of 7? Make sure to fix leaks early and increase ventilation by regularly running the exhaust fans in the bathrooms and kitchens. Is important to test and keep up with. Yes. Checking the attic is always important. Any crawl space, your attic is considered a crawl space, and then underneath your property is considered a crawl space. And the majority of air that you breathe flows through those two areas. If there are any kinds of hazards or pollutants there, 40% of the air you're breathing contains those pollutants. So yes, very, very good point, Fat, and I do appreciate that. CO2. This is one of those ones we know about, but don't often think about when we're thinking of indoor air pollutants. Carbon monoxide is an odorless, colorless, and toxic gas. Because it's impossible to see, taste, or smell, CO2 can kill you before you're aware it is even in your home. The effects of the exposure can vary greatly from person to person, depending on age, overall health, and the concentration and length of exposure. Installing CO2 alarms throughout your home and property is a great way to prevent exposure and its effects. You can learn more at the EPA.gov website. Carpets. While carpeting has been a particular popular flooring of choice dating back to the 1800s, we now know carpeting and its installation are a large contributor to indoor air pollution. Dangerous chemicals can not only become trapped in the carpeting, but they can also be used in the manufacturing of certain types of carpet. Carpeting can fill household air with volatile organic compounds or VOCs, including probable carcinogens like formaldehyde, benzene, and stain repellents. HVAC systems. There are several ways in which an HVAC system can degrade indoor air quality. One, it can spread dust around because once the dust becomes aerosolized, that fan is literally just blowing it around your property. Bacteria or allergens as well, or other harmful substances that have become airborne. High efficiency particulate air filters, like HEPA air filters, are recommended by the US Department of Health because they are able to remove at least 99.97% of airborne allergens and pollutants, including mold spores and dust that are as small as 0.3 microns. Regular duct cleaning can also help prevent the spread of airborne allergens and pollutants. We recommend, at a minimum, you have your duct systems cleaned once a year. Definitely recommend twice a year if you're able to do it, but at least once a year to make sure that any of those particulates that are getting trapped in your HVAC system are removed safely and they don't become airborne into the air that you're actually breathing in. DuPont and Teflon. Now this gets into a little bit of the scary part of the presentation. We'll have a little quick video here. DuPont's famous Teflon coating is widely available through the production of materials like nonstick pans, plastics, carpeting, food packaging, and water-resistant clothing. While generally safe in other practical uses, Teflon coatings on nonstick cookware made with chemical C8 have shown to break down over time, releasing toxic chemicals into the air. If anybody's ever had one of these nonstick pans, that Teflon is that kind of black shiny coating. And if you've ever used a metal spatula on one of these pans, you see it kind of start to degrade that shiny coating. You're actually releasing VOCs into the air at that point in time, and I would recommend you dispose of any pans where that coating has any signs of wear and tear, where it is unsafe. Inhaling these fumes may lead to polymer fume fever, also known as the Teflon flu. For more information about DuPont and Teflon, I recommend this documentary, The Devil We Know. It is, or the movie Dark Waters. Dark Waters is a really, really great movie. It has the guy who played the Hulk in it for any Marvel fans on here. And it's just a very deeply touching movie. And here is a
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. We are broadcasting.
But when they determined, should we tell people outside the factory, they didn't. They kept it a secret. Their own scientists, again and again, their own lawyers, in fact, told them, we should tell people about this because they're drinking it in their water.
DuPont became aware that the chemical had seeped beyond its plant. And they wanted to figure out how far it had gotten. So a team went out with some jugs, plastic jars, and went to general stores and went miles downriver to collect samples. They didn't say why they were collecting samples or that they were from the company, but in testing these samples found that, in fact, the chemical had gone quite far from the plant.
Today, we're joined by...
So now that we went a little bit dark, we're going to bring it back to something happy. Here's a little bit of Halloween trivia. Everybody, get your fingers out. Let me know what your favorite Halloween movie is. There's no wrong answers. Put your favorite in the chat. Let's discuss. Hocus Pocus. I love Hocus Pocus. Have you seen the new one? Because the new one's actually really, really good. Yep, a lot of Hocus Pocus fans. I love this. Nightmare Before Christmas, Beetlejuice. Yep. Matt, have you seen the new Beetlejuice movie? Let me know if it hit. Yep, Beetlejuice, fantastic. Hocus Pocus too. While all these are coming in, I'm going to share one of my family's favorite Halloween movies. It's typically not a Halloween movie, but it is fantastic.
Missy Mo, feed me all night long. That's right, boy. You can do it. Missy Mo, feed me all night long. 'Cause if you feed me, see more, I can go big and strong. You eat what, Audrey, too? Let's face it. How am I supposed to keep on feeding you? Kill people? I make it
Oh
work.
yeah, Casper's a great one. House on Haunted Hill. I love that.
The success around here. The press comes. Look, you're a plant, an inanimate object. Just look inanimate to you, punk. You can punk, and I can say I can't do anything I want.
So if you haven't seen Little Shop of Horrors, it's an amazing movie. I highly recommend you do. It has aged very well. My children love it. It's hysterical and they sing all the songs throughout Halloween. Charlie Brown Halloween Special. Yes, that's such a classic, Scott. I love that one too. All right, let's get back into it. Radon. Radon is also something that affects our indoor air quality. Radon is a major issue of indoor air pollution. It is the cause of tens of thousands of deaths annually. Radon is produced by the decay of radium in the soil. It develops harmful decay byproducts, including radioactive polonium, lead, and bismuth. About 1 in 15 homes have an elevated radon level. The gas is odorless and invisible and does not cause immediate symptoms. So the only way to know if your home is affected is through testing. Persistent cough could be a sign that you have radon poisoning. Radon is the leading cause of lung cancer among non-smokers. A six-room residence collects an average of 40 pounds of dust in just 1 year. Change your indoor filters, people. Inspect your HVAC system and clean your ductwork. That's a lot of dust. Crawl spaces affect your air quality too. Approximately 40% of the air you breathe travels up through a property's crawl space. Moisture, mold, dust, and other harmful pollutants can easily affect your indoor air quality. Remember, if your crawl space is musty, dirty, and contaminated with airborne pathogens, so is your home. If you'd like a deep dive into crawl space hazards, we do have one. It's on our archive. Visit tristaterestores.com/VCB. Indoor air pollution and your health. So we've talked a lot about what the indoor air pollutants are. Now let's talk about how they affect you. The immediate effects. Some health effects may show up shortly after a single exposure or repeated exposures to a pollutant. These include irritation of the eyes, nose, throat, headaches, dizziness, and fatigue, basically allergenic reactions. The long-term effects, however, may show up either years after exposure has occurred or only after a longer repeated periods of exposure. These effects include some respiratory diseases, heart disease, and cancer, and can be severely debilitating or fatal. It is prudent to try to improve the indoor air quality in your home, even if symptoms are not noticeable. And then here's kind of the danger level spectrum here. Allergens are particulates like dust and pollen, mold, fungi, mildew, tobacco smoke, wood smoke, vehicle exhaust. These are all kind of danger level 1. And you have very typical allergenic reactions. Let's skip to danger level 2. This is where we get into bacterial infections from different types of mold like streptococcus, pneumococcus. Again, I mentioned there's a pneumonia outbreak in a couple of counties here in Maryland. Viral infections like the flu and RSV, cold viruses and SARS. Then you get to level 3, formaldehyde, carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, pesticides. These are the ones that cause long-term health effects and can lead to death. Tips for maintaining healthy air in your property. So I already brought this up, but I'm going to harp on it a bunch today in today's presentation. When was the last time you changed your air filter? High efficiency particulate air filters, or HEPA air filters, prevent the spread of airborne toxins, allergens, and pollutants. Opening your windows regularly will help improve ventilation. By letting the outside air in and the inside air out, fresh air will reduce the effects of airborne contaminants like VOCs, viruses, and unwanted moisture. Dust with a damp cloth and vacuum regularly. HEPA vacuum filters help to eliminate the risk of recirculating airborne toxins. And you can also do air quality testing when in doubt. If you don't have allergenic reactions, but you are concerned, you can also test your air quality. What is an indoor air quality specialist? Well, for the IAQA, an indoor air quality specialist like Tri-State, they have unique training to diagnose, consult, and remedy common indoor air quality issues. We're a member of the IAQA, and our employees are trained to understand the fundamentals of airborne and particulate toxins and infectious agents, how it affects the indoor air quality of your property and your health. So how do you check your air quality? You can purchase an indoor air quality monitor. You can call an IAQA air quality specialist like Tri-State to perform air sampling for laboratory results. You can install carbon monoxide detectors, conduct a radon test, and inspect your properties for VOCs, lead, and asbestos. There are special VOC monitors that you can purchase or hire a company to come out and use, and they will be able to test specific to the volatile organic compounds that are airborne in your property. Air quality is measured with the air quality index, or AQI. It works like a thermometer that runs from 0 to 500 degrees. However, instead of showing changes in the temperature, the AQI is a way of showing changes in the amount of pollution in the air. You go from green, which is good moderate, 0 to 50, all the way up to hazardous, 301 to 500. Indoor air quality meters. These are kind of at-home use ones that you can purchase either on, this one can be purchased on Amazon, this one can be purchased at Home Depot. An indoor air quality meter quickly checks for carbon dioxide concentrations, as well as the temperature, humidity, dew point, and wet bulb. An air quality monitor is a device that tracks temperature, humidity, particulate matter, like formaldehyde in your space. So this here is just a little device that you kind of keep, and it'll help you determine if there's a red flag in your indoor air quality. Air sampling is a process used to determine what airborne contaminants are present in an environment. It uses special instruments to detect contaminants such as gases, vapors, dust, and fibers in the air. This is an aerosol cartridge for collecting mold spores, and this is one to test for asbestos fibers.
Hi, everybody. Mark Will.
Before this, let me prompt it. This is our owner, Mark Wilson, and he is going to demonstrate how to properly use the air sampling machine that we have here for pulling out mold spores out of the air to test to see if there's mold in your environment.
Wilson Tri-State Restorations. Thanks for joining us for another virtual coffee break where this month, in recognition of indoor air quality, we're talking about air sampling today. So thanks again for joining us. So what we have here, just getting right into it, is an air sampling device that collects samples from the indoor environment and also the outdoor environment. It draws in negative pressure, so it's drawing air into a aerosol cassette. Now this is very loud, so I'm going to do most of the talking now, and towards the end I'll fire this thing up and kind of give you a demonstration. But in the indoor environment, this can be used anywhere, wherever you feel like you have suspected mold, in a building or a home. And then we also do outside samples, so just a simple extension cord outside, and we're collecting the outdoor environment air quality. And what that's showing us is different seasons have different types of allergens and molds. And we can see those. In summer, you're going to have more of a Penicillium aspergillus type of molds. So higher mold count in the summers, and then in the winter, very, very low. So what we're looking to do is draw a comparison between the indoor and outdoor. If you have more indoor mold than outdoor, then your assumption that you may have mold may be correct. You also have molds in the indoor environment that are not typical in the outdoor environment. Cladosporium, you have Stachybotrys, you have different molds that really like that material, the drywall, cabinetry, different porous material that will grow on the indoor and grow in the indoor environment that you won't see on the outdoor environment as often. So then that's going to clue you in to there being a possible issue. So we usually do a 3-sample process. We come in, we absolutely get that outdoor sample, that's one, and then we would get an unaffected area. So typically when people call us, their entire house isn't affected. It's a specific room, maybe a bathroom, maybe a kitchen, maybe where there's a water source. So we're gonna go ahead and, go to that affected area, then we're gonna take a non-affected area. Again, we're trying to get those baseline samples, affected, outside, and then where you have concerns. And hopefully, if somebody calls us, if you call us and we do sampling and it's pretty much even across the board, it's usually pretty much a good thing. It means that you have very little chance of a mold issue at that time. So right now I'm going to show you this. We have this error set cassette. Okay, so we go ahead and we take those samples through here. Zoom in here. So if we're doing the 3-sample process, it's 3 of these. We go ahead and label. We have a chain of custody that we're not going to go through all that, but we have a chain of custody we use to protect your sample, preserve the data, and make sure there's not a mix-up with other customers. So that's a form that we fill out on site and then send that off. So what we do is we simply take, there's a cover on both ends of this cassette, and we're going to go ahead and stick this round piece in here. So I can just hang off here, or, there's many ways you can hold it. Actually, you can use this inside a wall space. So you can actually cut a wall and take this tube and stick it right in the wall with the air cassette. So there's different ways of taking these samples. Typically with this, you want to err on the side of caution and have gloves on. Your skin cells can get inside the cassette as well and show up as well and could disrupt the sample. So typically we would want to wear gloves. So we take the top off here, and that's where the air is drawn into this cassette, and the negative pressure is coming through this tube. So we're going to go ahead and put this on. Typically, this will be a 5 to 7 minute sample at 15 milliliters of air drawn in of negative pressure. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this on for a second. Okay. You can see here, the air is being drawn in. If we can put that plastic over there. That's a nice little suction there. So it's drawing in all kinds of air from the indoor environment, and then that's going to stay on here for a little bit. So that's the process. We shut it off after a sample is done. Take it off. Again, with gloves typically. And but we can write on here, and then like I said, we have a chain of custody form. We would stick in this bag, put the samples in here, and ship it off. And that's pretty much it. We always clean this when we go to each job. This always gets cleaned and disinfected, not only with mold exposure, but COVID and everything. We clean and disinfect, so we bring this into your home. It's not coming from another environment that may have been contaminated. And that's about it. It is a little bit loud. Typically, we are in the house for about 30 to 45 minutes. Each sample takes about 10 minutes or so with the processing of the paperwork and the sample and the setup and everything else. So if you have any other questions, please contact us. Enjoy the presentation as it continues. And, we look forward to continuing to provide you kind of what we do and as to educate you on the processes that we use. So everybody have a great day. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
All right. So here at Tri-State, and I get asked this a lot, so I include this in the presentation. We do have 2 tiers of mold testing. The mold estimate tier 1, this is if you can physically see confirmation of suspect microbial growth. You see a water spot, it is an area of concern. You call us, we come out, we do a full moisture assessment. Basically, the moisture has to be coming from somewhere. We're going to try to help you pinpoint that with the knowledge that we are not source finders, but we are very well educated in this, and we are able to help steer you in the right direction so that you can start making those remedies to bring your property back to whole. Mold estimate tier 2 is where we use a infrared camera or borescope, and we take air samples. The air sampling procedure, one thing that Mark didn't mention in his video, we take 3 samples for any one area of concern. There is an outside air sample, and again, that's to reiterate what he mentioned in the video. We want to compare the outside air pollutants to the inside air pollutants, knowing that 40% of the air you're breathing indoors is coming from outside. So if you're seeing, aspergillus pop up on there, but there's a high concentration of it outdoors, it's likely coming from the outside and not really an area of concern for your indoor air quality. Perhaps you just need to work on your window seals, door caulking, and that sort of thing to make sure that you have less of a draft coming indoors. And then you take a sample of the indoor environment of concern and then a control sample, an area indoors in the same property that does not have any concern or red flags. We can also assist with asbestos inspections. This really varies on the facility. Medical facilities and schools have very different protocols and they're a little bit more lengthy. But if you do have an area of concern, maybe you were renovating, you pulled up carpet, you found classic 9x9 tiles underneath that carpet, that's a red flag. Give us a call before you start ripping up that subfloor. We want to make sure you stay safe and that you're not accidentally exposing yourself to asbestos fibers that could potentially harm you. Now it's time for a little more spooky trivia before we get into winterization tips. Cold weather temperatures are arriving. It was freezing this morning when I got up. With the freezing weather comes freezing pipes. What's most likely to occur? Freezing water creates pressure in the pipe and can burst. Bacterial growth will begin to form on wet drywall within 24 hours, or burst pipes lead to serious flooding, or all of the above. Yay, you guys, I'm so proud. Yes, D, it is all of the above. These are all hazards that can happen if you have a frozen pipe. All right, let's get into some winterization tips and then we will wrap up with our prizes. Our recommendations, it stems very, very closely from our biannual inspection tips. Inspect your gutters, clean gutters and downspouts of leaves and other debris so that melting snow can drain properly. Inspect your roof. Look for signs of degradation and have any areas of concern checked out by a professional as soon as possible. You want to have any damages repaired before the first snow and ice storm hits this area. Disconnect and drain all water hoses, including nozzles and sprinklers, to prevent leaks. If your hose bib has a separate shutoff valve, shut it off for the winter season. Have a licensed plumber inspect it before the next use in the spring. Inspect your plumbing overall. Hire a licensed plumber to perform an inspection of your property's plumbing system. Repair any issues prior to the first frost and prevent frozen pipes and pressure issues. Inspect your HVAC system. Have your heating system checked and tested prior to the first use this winter. Also have your smoke and carbon monoxide detectors tested. Check your fireplace furnace. Have a professional inspect and clean your wood burning fireplace or stove to reduce the risk of fire and smoke damage. Seal cracks around windows and doors to prevent warm air from escaping and cool air from entering. And our pro tip here is to install programmable thermostats like a Nest. These will ensure you're able to control your property's internal temperature and that it always stays within a safe range, which is recommended at 55 degrees Fahrenheit or higher, no matter the weather. This will help you to prevent cold weather disasters like frozen pipes, and it'll also help prevent the pipe pressure bursts that do happen when we have a warm day to a cold day very, very quickly. And because Halloween is tomorrow, I couldn't resist including some more Halloween safety tips. These are great for everyone to utilize. Be sure to choose a costume that won't cause safety hazards. All costumes, wigs, and accessories should be fire resistant. If children are allowed after dark, fasten reflective tape to their costumes and bags or give them glow sticks. Remove all makeup before children go to bed to prevent skin and eye irritation. And in closing, if you suspect you have a property hazard or require assistance with water, fire, smoke, lead, or biohazard damages, give us a call. We are available 24/7 to help with your disaster. Hide candy from children, good one. Any questions? Thanks, Kevin. Great tips for adults. Exactly. And another tip for adults, I know it's very tempting, but if your neighbors are handing out Jello shots and you don't know your neighbor, it's probably best to avoid it. You never know. Thanks, Amy. All right, I'm gonna leave this open here. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to share them in the chat. I will keep monitoring this as we keep going, but I promised I was gonna try to return you guys back to your day as quickly as I could. Help us plan for future coffee breaks, please. What would you like for us to do in 2025? Let me know by completing the post-event survey. As always, today's recording and past VCBs can be found at tristaterestorers.com/VCB. I will give you a little insight into 2025. We have some great things in store for you already. We have a few guest speakers, and we're going to be talking about crawl spaces and other indoor hazards as it pertains to pests. So there's just something for you to earmark it. Make sure you're signing up and coming to join us on January 29th. That will be our first coffee break for 2025. And as always, if you like this presentation, I sincerely hope that you did and that you got something out of it. Let us know by reviewing Tri-State Restorations on Google, Facebook, or Angie, and we'll share a $25 gift card with you as long as those people with the powers that be in those organizations, Google, Facebook, and Angie, approve your review. Again, we will see you January 29th, but that doesn't mean we're leaving you hanging. Look out for our exclusive invite to join our 2024 holiday extravaganza, and you could win big. Last year we gave away some, big cash prizes. The year before we gave away like a Nintendo Switch and some other cash prizes. So you have to show up to win. So I hope to see you all there. It's a lot of fun. We do some singing, we do caroling, we have holiday trivia, some good safety tips sprinkled in there. It's a good time. And please connect with us. Again, our 24-hour emergency line is here. Our website is tristaterestores.com, and you can follow us for all of your updates on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Tri-State Restorations. And now, without further ado, I'd like to give somebody this spooky dozen from Georgetown Cupcake. Our winner will be receiving a gift card to purchase their spooky dozen and have it delivered to them. Now let me get my random number generator out here and find out who our winner is today. Give me a second. Let's see here. Amanda Reinhardt, you're lucky number one. You're at the top of my list, and the random number generator gave me number one. So congratulations, girl. You just won some cupcakes. I will reach out to you after today's presentation to kind of let you know the who, what, where, when, why, and how these are getting to you. But I hope you enjoy yourself. These are sinfully delicious and beautifully decorated in all things spooky month. So, oh, you never win anything? Congrats. I'm so happy to have you as our winner today. Now you can say that you have won something and that Tri-State Restorations made that possible. And now, chat us one thing you learned in this presentation to win, not something AI generated that you assume is going to be said during this presentation. You must chat us something you learned from me today in order to win your $5 Starbucks gift card. First 10 people will have it emailed to them by Friday. Oh, beautiful. Teflon flue sculpt. Yep, great. Water remediation, effects of air pollution on our health, and show how we prevent health from these effects. Perfect. And healing or touching mold spores can cause allergen. Good job, Kelly. Radon is a major source of indoor. Yep, Sheila, that is perfect. And radon's one of those ones that kind of goes under the cover of darkness. You have your home inspector come out and test, but then you don't think about it ever again. And it can naturally form in the ground next to your property years later after purchase. So it's important to have these regular property checkups. Regular duct cleaning and HE type HVACs are recommended. Yes, perfect. Oh, great job, guys. I'm so proud of you. Thank you. And again, happy Halloween, everybody. Tomorrow is going to be a fun day. It closes out spooky month. One of my favorite all-time holidays ever. I hope you guys had fun today. You learned something. You can take something back to your personal lives or your company, and you can start to instill that in your day-to-day. Thank you all for joining us. Be on the lookout early next month. We're going to send that holiday extravaganza invitation out. Can't wait to see you all again next in December for that. And then if I don't talk to you before then, we will see you January 29th. Have a beautiful holiday season, everybody. Enjoy your Halloween, enjoy your Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever it is you celebrate. Can't wait to see you in the new year for 2025. Take care, everybody. Have a good one.